Hello, this is Dave Sweat. This is a series on maybe a weird subject, but end stage or stage 5 leukemia. This is something that I've been suffering with for 2.5 years. And anyone that's in this position knows because of your blood situation and other parameters that the treatments in the US are very limited. Um, I was feeling extremely tired. I could only work for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours a day. I would come home, lay down, basically pass out, wake up a few hours later, wonder what had happened. I started going to the doctor. Um, I didn't even have a, a family doctor. I've never had an illness in my life. So all of this was new to me. It took the medical community, and this is part of the frustrating part, a year and a half to diagnose that I had leukemia. And at that point, I'd gone to see 3 or 4 different doctors, and my blood work had come back. We were, I was receiving numbers on my blood work of about 200 for my white cell count and maybe 120 on my platelets. So um, that tells you that I have leukemia. One of the issues I had with the doctors is um, they would um, look at me physically and say, well, you don't look sick. And as I'm trying to explain to them, I had bone pain in my long bones, in my arm and in my leg. And I was having a more difficult time breathing. I was extremely tired. Um, they would make some of their diagnosis with, I don't look sick. When I was finally diagnosed and I ended up being notified I had ALL, which from my research and talking to the doctors and stuff is once you're over the age of about 60, it's a death sentence. They don't really have anything that can help you. And if your blood's in the same condition mine is, um, you're not a candidate for chemotherapy. You're not a candidate for radiation. You're not a candidate for anything. They want to go in and try to isolate or figure out where the cancer's gone, which in my case, I didn't see a point of it. If they couldn't treat me, I'm not sure why I needed to have given bone marrow samples and spinal taps and all of that stuff. And over the next 2 years, which brings us to today, the cancer had migrated. It had got into my spinal fluid, it had gone up into my brain. It had made me extremely dizzy. I had pressure in my head all the time, extreme bruising. Like I said, I had bone pains in my arm and in my thigh, and both of those places I had bone pain ended up resulting in lumps or tumors. Um, it progressed just like I hate to say typical cancer, but it got to where I had a hard time. My blood had a hard time packing oxygen, which means I had a hard time functioning. Your red cells, they don't like to pack oxygen with cancer. My legs started swelling up in the afternoon. Um, it finally got it had moved, like I say, from my spinal cord into my brain. I started getting tumors in my legs and in my arms. My legs would go numb. I was having a hard time breathing. And it finally progressed to a point in October that my uh, liver and my pancreas had shut down. I had turned to gray. At that point, the few things that I tried, because we couldn't be helped here in America, I actually went to Mexico on 3 separate occasions to have stem cell treatments. Um, during my my visits to Mexico, there were a few things that did help. They basically try to sterilize your blood, which seems to help for a day or two. But the stem cells themselves didn't help. But on the other hand, the doctors did tell me in Mexico, they said, no, we haven't had a lot of luck treating leukemia patients with stem cell transplants. They've had tremendous success treating other types of cancer, but they did not have any success treating stem cell or leukemia. So in, let's see, it was the end of August. I woke up in the morning and because of the lymph nodes in your legs, they won't drain. My legs were going numb, but I woke up and my right knee was completely swollen up. It was black because it had bled internally all night long. And it was a mess. We ended up getting some laser treatments on it. At that point, I was on crutches, and I have a farm, and I've been a racehorse trainer for a long time, so I was still managing to hobble out to the farm and still take care of the racehorses and feeding them and trying to stay as active as I could. But it was during the organ failures, and at the time I would brush my teeth and within 15 seconds I'd be spitting straight blood because there's no platelets. I had gone to the doctor here in town to get a blood test done to see if the stem cells that I'd done in May from Mexico had actually worked. So at that point, they put me on hospice basically. They had made arrangements to send me home, to send hospice over, and they were going to start administering morphine, and it was basically, that was my end of life care. And that just did not resonate with me. I believe in higher power, and in my lifetime, if it doesn't feel correct, or if you don't have a good feeling about it in your chest, then that's not meant for you. And being basically put down, let's use horse terms, being put down by the medical community just didn't feel right. Like I say, on October 10th, I woke up in the middle of the night. My heart rate was 30. My respiration was probably 15, or I was taking breath every 15 seconds. And it was tremendous pain. And at the time, I had been prescribed narcotic pain pills, which, being stubborn, I didn't want to take them, but I was taking probably 30 to 35 ibuprofen, naproxen, acetaminophen, whatever would dull the pain. But again, on October 9th, I wake up in the middle of the night, or October 10th, morning of, extreme pain in my legs. The bottom part of my legs were numb, but around my knees and hips were just agonizing pain. So I wake up. There's a few things that I've learned over my progression of cancer is you have to get your lymph nodes to work again. So I struggled to get out of bed. I massaged my legs, the back of my knees, up at my hips, and got my lymph nodes to basically start circulating again. Took an extremely hot bath, and it calmed everything down. That's when I made the phone call to the doctors, and that's when they told me that I needed to plan for end of life. And of course, after the diagnosis of the cancer that's stage 5, or what they call end stage cancer, is they told me there's no hope. It's 100% kill rate. So it's just a matter of time. 20% of the people die in the first 24 months. And it's like 95% of the people die in 3 years. There's, according to the statistics, including those from the American Cancer Association, there is no survivors from ALL, from leukemia, the kind of leukemia that I have in my age group. So to me, again, when they told me to go home and they were going to administer morphine, I decided that didn't feel right to me. And it's not that I'm afraid of dying. I do believe in a higher power, and I've already come to terms with dying. I'm not afraid to die. So that wasn't really a factor in it. Just didn't resonate with me. And I life coach, and as we try to teach people, if it doesn't resonate with you, the message isn't for you. And that's one of the things that I'll put out with these cancer videos is, if it doesn't resonate with you, these videos aren't for you. I'm not a doctor and I'm not selling anything. But on October 11th, the morning of October 11th, I changed what I was doing and started self-medicating my leukemia with drugs that are alternative, let's say, cures. Or cure is a bad word. I don't think you're ever cured from this stuff, but alternative medicines. And those things, especially the one that I was using, and all of this stuff I had used in my years of experience horse racing, they're not associated with cancer. I don't know that they've done any studies on them. I do know that it improved my condition tremendously. We went from October 10th, 2023 of we're giving you 48 hours to live to we're almost 180 days later. I feel better now than I have in the past 18 months. So what I'm willing to share is how on this YouTube channel is how I handled it mentally, how I handled the divine inspiration to take the actions that I took, and how to enjoy your life and not get obsessed with things that you can't control. I hope that we get an audience here that can support each other. I hope that there is some valuable information in these videos to help people in their struggle, to know that they're not alone. And even though, again, in my case, that the conventional U.S. medicine says you're going to die, it's 100% chance that you're going to die. There is no survivors in your age group with this cancer. There's none. So, ignoring all that, I decided to listen to the thoughts that I was receiving, and to go ahead and try that. And again, in my case, it was very easy because my motto is, what's it going to do? Kill me? You guys already said I was going to die, and you wanted to help the process. So if I didn't have a lot to lose. I wasn't gambling anything. I wasn't wasting my precious moments. I wasn't, because it there weren't any. You guys hadn't given me any hope, and you basically just told me I was going to kick the bucket one way or another. During that time, there were 2 or 3 days that I went to sleep in September and October of 2023 that I was 90% sure I wasn't going to wake up. So what the feeling of passing away is, peaceful. It's, you just kind of go outside your body and, float around the room. And I'm assuming that at some point you just don't come home. You, just continue on to the next life. But I had come to terms with that, and thank goodness I was very blessed in my life, and I'd been able to do about anything that I wanted to do as far as not having a bucket list, how I treated people. I didn't feel like I'd missed out. So to me, there was no downside in, I'm going to try these, what I call inspired actions, or I'm going to try these alternative medicines or cures, or alternative treatments, I guess would be a better word, to handle my leukemia, to see what would happen, and where it would lead me. And to my surprise is, I did exactly what I was inspired to do, took exactly what I was inspired to take, and experimented with it. And besides being a horse trainer, I've been an athlete most of my life, so I had a pretty good understanding of my body and what it felt like and what was going on with it. So, like I said, what's it going to do? Kill me? We had multiple organ failures. We had no platelets. They were down under 80. I got put on the do not operate list, do not revive list. I had cancer in my spinal column. I had cancer in my brain. I had infection in my mouth. I was taking probably 30 pills a day, plus we had some amoxicillin an antibiotic that I was having to take because I had you have no white cells, so you can't fight any infections, and I had infection in my mouth. It was awful. So in our next video, this is just the background video. In my next video, which I'll post within the next couple days, I will walk you through what has extended my life. I'll walk you through my morning routine, and I'll walk you through my evening routine. That, and again, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not settling it. I'm not selling anything. All I'm doing is put this information out there, and you guys can choose whether you want to look at this information or use it or not. It's something that, because of the Western medicine, they offer no help and no treatment. This can be an alternate treatment that may or may not work. It did for me. We don't need to get into the weeds of why it worked for me, because I really don't care. Some people ask, well, you need to go get your blood work done again. Well, no, I don't, because I'm not dead. So it's working. I feel better. And I don't need, to me, I'm not sure what good that information is. I'm not trying to validate anything as far as my blood work, or trying to convince somebody that I'm have found the cure to cancer, because that's not where we're at. where we're at is these things have helped. Has helped my quality of life tremendously. They're non-conventional treatments. Some of these substances I'm taking has not been associated with cancer cure at all. So this is a background. I hope you will join us in the next day or two, and I will show you not only what I take, how I take it, what side effects may have occurred, what I think is causing me to feel better, and that's where we'll go from here. If you want to continue watching, this is where you can find me. And again, hopefully we can be a supportive community that can figure out a better way to live with leukemia. It's not hopeless, and we need to support each other. And believe me, you're not alone in the fight. There are a lot of people who have gone through the same experiences with me, and unfortunately, most of the people that I went to Mexico to receive cancer treatment with, whether it's stem cells or some of the other stuff they do down there, unfortunately, probably I'd say 85 or 90% of those people have passed away. So I'm not saying it doesn't work, but and I'm not saying it'll cure you, and I'm just telling you that we can share this information, and hopefully it may help you out, and it may alleviate some of the symptoms that you're experiencing, and it will help your day-to-day quality of life. Again, I believe in a higher power. I believe in God or whatever higher power you want to talk about. And I also believe that your state of mind is a big reason why you either feel better or you don't. If you feel like everything is hopeless and it's a lost cause and you're going to die, you probably will. If you're afraid of dying, that's a bad thing also. So once you've come to terms, and I'm maybe strange that way, is once they told me I had terminal leukemia, which was the second doctor visit, and they couldn't do anything. It's like, my thing was fine. If it's time for me to go, let's go. Let's go. So, and I was happy to go to basically discover what's on the other side and how can I be helpful, and that religious stuff. But again, on the next video, we will show you what I'm using and what's helped me tremendously. Hopefully it can help someone else. Hopefully it can be shared. And I may be a one-up or a one-out person that this stuff only helps me because of my body chemistry. I don't know. But I'm glad to have you with me. I hope that we can continue this journey together. I hope that we can support each other. And I hope this gives people some ideas that will help their quality of life and give them some hope for the future. So until next time, which the next video, I will show you what I'm using, how I use it, the whole 9 yards. It's not a secret. I want to share it with everyone. So we'll share that in the next day or two, and then I'll share some of the day-to-day experiences and the trials and tribulations, I guess, of having stage 5 leukemia. Until then, God bless.